Stay connected to gratitude. Hit the follow button right now and join thousands of listeners tuning in each week. We're the Gratitude Seekers. Come join us.
Of course, there's many other elements to gratitude. I was just at an elementary school yesterday doing a program with them here in the New York area. And to children, I was explaining it in a way that it was gratitude is being thankful. But on the other hand, the less we can complain is the same equation. So the more we're grateful is on one side of the equation, the less we complain is on the other side of the equation. And how do we actually practice complaining less as children, as adults, all of us? Children have more of a right to because they're always doing that to adults who they're dependent on, which that relationship is okay. We grow out of it. But I was just trying to plant the seed of the idea that how can we play games like complaining less and try to go a day without complaining. But when you do, just be aware of it and say, oh, okay, and try to make a really fun process. And I shared with them some examples of how I played that game before with my nephews and nieces, and how amazing of an opportunity it is for us to cultivate gratitude by being aware of where we're complaining.
Welcome to the Gratitude Podcast on www.georgianbenta.com, where you'll hear a new story each week that will inspire more gratitude in your own life. Our mission is to inspire 100,000 people to discover how to feel gratitude and live a happy life through the amazing life stories of our successful guests and their actionable tips. And now, the host of our podcast, Georgian Benta.
Hi, Gratitude Seeker, and welcome to a new episode of the Gratitude Podcast. Today with me, I have an amazing human being. I've been listening to his songs and I just feel uplifted. I've mentioned his songs also in one of the shorter episodes that I do on the Gratitude Podcast. And I really encourage you to listen to him because it's just uplifting. It just connects you to a higher vibration, and you can feel the place where he was internally when he did these songs, and I think it's quite incredible. Welcome, Nimo Patel. I really appreciate you accepting my invitation, and I am just happy that you're here with us, and you're sharing your message, because you, unlike other people that are musicians that don't really have a message, you have a really deep and profound message, and I really appreciate that. Welcome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for inviting me here in Romania and on planet Earth and all over, sharing your message of gratitude through these podcasts. So thank you so much for having me here. And the music, yes, the message is good. It's very universal, so it's not my message, but I think it's just, for me also, it's a blessing to try to practice that message in my day-to-day life. I think that's most important. So yeah, I appreciate your sharing.
Totally. What I forgot to say about you is that you went from from having an Ivy League education to Wall Street to fame and fortune as an MTV Rap star, and at some point in your journey, you realized that this is a walking path to suffering. Do you want to say a few words about this? What happened that got you to realize this and to choose another path?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I ultimately, as a seeker of life, you try to follow a path that you feel is going to bring you joy and happiness. At least initially, that was my vision, and that was working hard and eventually wanting to get a position in the entertainment industry that I felt I was seeking. And as my journey progressed, and as I got rewards that I felt were very what I was hoping to receive, I also realized that I wasn't happy, actually, even during those moments of success. And I think that was a big thing for me, Georgian, that if I was supposed to receive happiness through the achievements of what I was hoping to achieve, and when I did achieve certain things, I wasn't happy, then I knew that inside myself there was something really that I need to fix, actually. And then I think that was the journey that led me to say, okay, well, if you don't start now in changing your internal wiring, then you're just going to continue to live this life where on the outside it might feel okay and great, but internally you're not going to be feeling that joy that you have the potential to feel. And I think when we have that fulfilled, that element, the internal element is the space where we can offer the most externally. So there's a quote by Mahatma Gandhi that had always inspired me. He said, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." And I think that point of my journey is when I decided to kind of close everything and let go of everything I had and try to start again by serving and being a humble servant of the world in my own small way. And that's been the journey now. So that's I think my purpose in life, to serve in whatever small ways I can while I'm here, and then leave smiling.
That's wonderful. And what's particularly interesting for me is that when I was in high school, I actually started a rap band.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we were, let's say, a bit successful in our little town. Mm-hmm. Of course, we wanted to be like the big successes that we saw on TV. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting for me that even then I realized that it's not actually the thing. I love the creative process. I loved writing lyrics, for instance, because they were positive, motivational. But I felt that it wasn't something true for me. And that was very interesting. And but on the other side, I was thinking that it might just be that I didn't reach that level of success. And the fact that you have reached that level of success and that have found that it's not what fulfills you, for me personally, it's quite interesting. And yeah, it's like connecting the dots, you know.
Yeah, it's individual for each of us, right? No matter what our situation and parameters. But I think for me, the most important thing was to keep questioning myself and being honest with myself, and not let the outside influences guide my understanding of how I was feeling and what I should be doing. So I think that internal questioning and authenticity to myself, I think I would credit to making changes that I otherwise, like you said, probably would not have desired to just keep following that path, because it felt like it was good and nice and, well, you know,
exactly.
Outside.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. So getting back to gratitude, I'm really curious what gratitude means for you. I know that you have a whole song on gratitude, a really great song. And the video with the song is just amazing. And definitely I recommend our listeners to check it out. I will link it into the show notes. So what does gratitude mean for you, Nimo?
Our partner has a product that I use literally every day. I started taking AG1 because it's basically a green smoothie that's easy to make, it's packed with vitamins, and it always has a great taste. So what is this stuff? With AG1, every morning you're easily absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All the things. I'm a big fan of drinking water first thing in the morning, and I love eating greens throughout the day. Now I'm able to start my day every day with a combination of fresh water and greens. Smoothies and fresh juices take time to make and can be cumbersome, but with AG1, it's so simple that I don't miss a day. It's also cheaper than getting all the different supplements yourself, and it's much easier than taking so many pills to fit all the AG1 has in a single scoop while being lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/gratitude. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/gratitude to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
It's a big, a very deep-rooted question, because it's it's a lifestyle in a sense, or it's a practice of living, and it's not really just one virtue or value. It's something that we definitely have to cultivate and keep cultivating and be committed to. For me, it's this idea, and it goes very macro, Georgian, and it goes very micro. On the macro level is stepping back and trying to understand just the history of our planet, and thinking of these 4.5 billion years that scientifically this planet has been in existence. And if I'm looking at it just from my perspective, my micro lens, for me, this is a human body that I get to connect with, my mind, my heart, my senses, to be given an opportunity to be a small dot on this historical timeline of this planet, and then to be at this moment where human beings have come to this great space of achievement and destruction at the same time, and to be witness to this all, and sometimes be a part of it, and sometimes try to step back and just be like, wow, this is quite magical to be in this space and time. And this is the one tiny planet that I'm talking about, planet Earth, billions of other planets, and we have no clue what goes beyond. But to be a small part of this one at this time frame, to me, is quite magical. So to step back and just understand that element is, to me, one of the foundations of trying to step into gratitude. And as I go deeper then into my life, into my being and presence here, being a part of that journey, then I soak into my personal life beyond the macro and start saying, well, this life is really a gift I've been given. How can I use it? And I think this idea that when I am able to understand the blessings that I'm receiving, then it really, like, I always see kindness and gratitude as two sides of the same coin, that when I realize the blessings that I'm having, then I only have room to offer that forward to others, and so for me, gratitude is an awareness that it's most importantly, I would say, and I'm just saying this out loud right now thinking, but the most important thing is the awareness and that deeper intention of understanding, humbly understanding this small role that we play and the gifts that we're being given while we are here. And how do we pay that forward? Of course, there's many other elements to gratitude. I was just at an elementary school yesterday doing a program with them here in the New York area. And to children, I was explaining it in a way that it was gratitude is being thankful, but on the other hand, the less we can complain is the same equation. So the more we're grateful is on one side of the equation, the less we complain is on the other side of the equation. And how do we actually practice complaining less as children, as adults, all of us? Children have more of a right to, because they're always doing that to adults who they're dependent on, which that relationship is okay. And we grow out of it. But I was just trying to plant the seed of the idea that how can we play games like complaining less and try to go a day without complaining? But when you do, just be aware of it and say, oh, okay, and try to make a really fun process. And I shared with them some examples of how I played that game before with my nephews and nieces, and how amazing of an opportunity it is for us to cultivate gratitude by being aware of where we're complaining and saying, how do I flip that? And I'll give you an example. One time my nephew and I were at a hotel, and it was a really nice hotel, and we were waiting for the golf cart person to pick us up because it was quite a distance from the main office where our room was. And we were waiting, we called, and 5 minutes later, the golf buggy didn't come. 10 minutes later, it didn't come. 20 minutes later, it didn't come. And then we were just like, and we had agreed that when we came to this hotel, we would not complain for the whole trip, for our whole vacation. For me, that was very important to go to an expensive hotel and then you start complaining, to me, it's very painful to hear that. So then we play this game. So we had this moment where at 20 minutes, this golf cart didn't come. We looked at each other and we started joking. We're like, so inside I was trying to think, how do we convert this from complaining to gratitude? And then we looked at each other. I started joking with them like, wow, this is amazing. This golf cart hasn't come and we get to bond and spend these 20 minutes together standing side by side. And we started laughing. But this idea that we shifted the energy just through that intention and that awareness that we want to cultivate gratitude. How are we going to do it? What are the things we can do? And so to me, gratitude is all encompassing in many ways. My dear friend, Guri Mehta, she went on the Camino de Santiago from France to Spain, and she wrote a poem called Pilgrim. And one of my favorite quotes that she wrote was, "Dear Pilgrim, be grateful, for gratitude and suffering cannot coexist." And it's maybe not 100% true. Maybe we are suffering sometimes, even though we feel grateful or we're going through some tough times. But our spirit has a bandwidth, and the more we cultivate it with compassion and gratitude, the less moments we are given opportunity to suffer. And it's very powerful. It's a very amazing cycle, I think, that we can look at and try to internalize.
Yeah, I love the fact that you gave us this perspective. I really didn't think about gratitude in this way. The fact that by not giving energy to complaining and shifting that energy to gratitude, you can actually get more gratitude, because indeed we spend a lot of time complaining, and all that time spent complaining, it's not spent in appreciation. And it's quite a pity, because when we get a gift, if we are just complaining and just thinking about what's bad with the gift, of course we won't enjoy it. And it's the same with life, right? And you also anticipated my next question, if you have a favorite quote on gratitude, which is really cool.
I like that one.
Yeah. So what I'm really curious, you mentioned though a few minutes ago the fact that even though we are grateful, we sometimes suffer, or we sometimes have a harder time to feel grateful. What do you do when it's harder to be grateful?
I mean, just being aware and being kind to myself. I think that's what I try to practice. And when I'm down or my emotions are down, I know I might not be the best me that I'm possible of being, but I could be the best me in that situation. It's in those moments where we can try to be nonviolent, where the negative thoughts are coming or where there's challenges, and instead I'm staying neutral and I'm not harming myself or others, or I'm not putting negative energy in my mind or heart. That's a big start. It doesn't have to always be feeling bubbly and grateful and thankful and compassionate, but we do have the capacity to be equanimous. And what I mean by equanimous is trying to stay balanced. And in that balance, we don't get overridden too much. I mean, with all the suffering we see, in this day and age, and that's always been there. But again, this goes back to that perspective. When do we take that bigger perspective that we're just small little dots here for a moment? So when something does happen, it's tough in that moment, but can I get out of it a little quicker by gaining perspective? And can I get out of my depression a little quicker by just reflecting and realizing I'm not the whole world. I'm just a little speck of dust in it, and it's okay. It'll get over it, and this will pass. I will also soon pass and be a piece of dust again. And I'm not saying it's easy, Georgian. I'm just saying, how do we incorporate this into our daily thought process a little more so that we can soften the challenges a little and work through them, and then get back to that space that we are meant to be in,
Exactly. And what I have experienced, and other people that have been on the podcast as well, by cultivating a habit of being grateful more often, it actually makes it easier because your default isn't complaining. Your default is gratitude. And even though you still suffer, sometimes you still might get depressed or things like this, it's easier to get back on track because this is your default. And
Absolutely.
yeah, this
And
is
it's a
why I believe,
cycle. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, this is why I believe gratitude is so powerful because it's easy to get back on track.
Yeah.
You were saying something about the cycle. It's
Well, I was saying that idea of going into the negative space is a vicious cycle, and it's a snowball effect. And so it's like not only trying to cultivate more gratitude, but the more we avoid that, the less we're deeper to go into that. And we see that in many ways where common human conversations have to do with negative things, complaining about something, seeing how bad something, and it's common human bonding to discuss suffering and to want to be a part of suffering or observe it. It's part of our human tendency to want to see darkness so that we can protect ourselves from it or discuss it so we can. But again, that's a form of habit pattern that we've created that we pass on to each other, that we nurture, and we can also nurture as you are helping doing, which is cultivating these innate ways of seeing the world through a lens of gratitude and positivity.
Yeah, exactly. Because the first one helps you with surviving, with just going by and existing in this world.
Right.
And the other one actually gives you more, like I like to say, deliciousness of life.
Joy and richness and blessings that we start feeling and seeing.
Exactly. Absolutely. But I'm really curious, when you discovered gratitude, like not just the word, but an actual experience of gratitude that you felt personally.
It's happened over time, I think. For example, I think I pray before each meal, and I'm not just talking about a prayer towards some god of a religion, but in gratitude for having a meal to eat. I think I've been doing that for over 15 years before anything that I put in my mouth or my body. And I use that moment to also just still myself and try to just feel a little of the blessings and the amazingness of being here. So luckily, because we eat quite often in the day, if we're blessed to, then those moments also become times to root myself back in. But I would say since I've moved to India in 2010, working with children in underprivileged and slum communities for the last 8 years, they're my teachers, and their mothers, their families, the communities. When I see all that is materially lacking and all the challenges and hardships that these communities and these kids that are like my little brothers and sisters face, then they are the ones constantly teaching me to not complain. I don't have room to complain, and to be grateful, and to not take for granted the resources that you have, and to make use of them for the betterment of others and for the good of others. And it was actually for that exact reason that when I started Empty Hands and I finished this album, I knew that I would not be able to charge for this, and whatever tours I do, I would not charge for it. The album would always be free for people, even physical album, digital album, whatever it is, because this was not something that I can say is mine. Mm-hmm. And this message is not mine, and this music, whatever it is, it's come through me physically in a physical way, but it's not mine. And whatever blessings that I was able to record and send it out to the world. So in that sense, that gratitude was deep for me in that space, because it allowed me to share what I'm doing now from that space that I would want to, from a space of gratitude, and not from a space of doership, or that I did something, or that I created something, but really that, hey, wow, I'm able to help pass this on and let it flow, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can totally feel that when you listen to the songs. They're just amazing, and also the videos are so uplifting. I really, you can really feel the place that they were done in, and I really love that. But I was also curious if you, like in the past when you weren't that grateful and you weren't so appreciative of life, what would you tell your younger self about gratitude, like 20 years ago, or I don't know?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think it would have, if I was to share a message on gratitude back then, I actually don't remember maybe the space that I was in, but it would be much more superficial, I think, from a non-experiential space, and which actually to me is very meaningful to that, for all of us to know that it's important that we experience in order to develop these values in a deeper way. That's why I really always encourage my family, the kids that I see around the world, or even the adults that I see around the world, to serve and help others, and see that no matter where we stand on the world, there are always people that are, or animals, or the environment that's in a more challenged space than us. And when we are able to go put our hearts in that space and serve, that's when there are shifts that happen, and a space of thankfulness, of gratitude, a deeper seed is planted, and it doesn't become just philosophical anymore. And I think it's easy for us to tell kids to be thankful, to be grateful, but when we're, as adults, not actually practicing it at a deeper level, but we just want our kids to be that, it's not easy. So what do we need to do? One, we need to be the real ones practicing. And what is a practice of gratitude? It's a conservation of resources. It's not, there's nothing that's taken for granted. It's not wasting things. It's, sharing appreciation in the smallest ways. Somebody might be a janitor at your school or in your office, and sharing your love and appreciation, or at the airport. So that it's being aware of small things. And again, it's as we start practicing this as adults, that's the way kids will learn. It's not going to be through us telling them to be thankful. So I think that shift has to happen first, and we have to expose ourselves in our lives in ways that help pull that out. And then I think those seeds can continue, to go further.
I love it. And I think it's really important what you just said, for our listeners that are parents and that want to teach their children gratitude. The best way to teach it is to be the change you want to see, and to be grateful, and to, like Nimo gave us the example with his nephew, that he showed him how to be grateful even in a situation when they could have easily complained. And I believe this is just amazing. But how do you stay grateful? Do you have some practices, something that you do daily or periodically that gets you to be grateful?
Yeah, that's probably the most important question, Georgian, because I think all of spiritual practices or philosophies have to root back to practice. And for me, there are various daily practices that I have. One is meditation, finding a space of stillness and silence that eventually helps the clutter of the mind drain away a little. And when those clouds go away, then I'm able to, again, for a moment, see the blessings and the beauty that exists. And that, again, is an important anchor. Prayer, again, before meal, and thanking this higher power for allowing me to eat today, helps me realize and be grounded that I'm dependent on so many beings to allow for this nourishment to come onto my plate. And without the world and without all this interconnectivity, I would just be a bunch of bones, and then that would wither away. I think practices like gratitude challenges, which is something we've always tried to encourage with our kids, with our families, with schools, as much. So our host family with service space, they have an organization called kindspring.org. That's KINDSPRING.org. And they host these 21-day gratitude challenges. And actually, I had created this song Grateful with my friend Daniel as a gift to all the participants of the first 21-day gratitude challenge that they did in 2013. And then my friend Ellie happened to be in India at that time, and I asked her if we can shoot a video, and we happened to just shoot that video in that week as a gift to the participants of that 21-day gratitude challenge. So just as an encouragement, like in families, in communities, you can do that where you take gratitude challenges, because ultimately this is a muscle and we have to build and cultivate and nurture and nourish it. And then it starts shifting our spirit, our nature, our habit patterns. And then you start seeing it. So, now I feel like if I do complain, for example, it comes really loud. I'm like, I can feel it, and I'll feel a deep kind of like small pain in myself for complaining. And so that's great that I can start noticing and being aware of that fact that after whatever, so many years of practicing, that when I complain, that negative, or when I hear people complaining, it goes inside of me. And the question comes up, how do we change this energy? So I think as we start practicing little by little in small ways, a lot of people do diaries, gratitude diaries and journals before when waking up, going to sleep, whatever ways, small ways we can create our own practices to remind ourselves of the blessings that we have. In the Grateful song, there's a line that I really like, but a lot of people may not understand the meaning of it. It says, it's at the end of the song, but it says, it's a gift to realize that everything is a gift. And that gift of realization is this awareness. When we are aware to realize that everything actually is here as a blessing, that awareness is the biggest gift that we can have. But how do we practice and cultivate that awareness day to day? Those are the practices we need to create.
Exactly. I love this idea, and I think that gratitude is a gift. Being able to see the gifts that we have, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this, because I've seen myself that no matter all the things that I can achieve on the outside, if I'm not able to appreciate my life and the outside circumstances, they don't really matter. And if I have this gift, the things that are on the outside, I just appreciate them more, and it's just the thing that I actually needed, not the things that are on the outside. So my last question for you is, if you have some people in your life that have impacted you, have helped you become the person that you are today, and that you would like to mention.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are so many people, and the obvious ones are mom and dad and my family. And on the spiritual path, I think people like Varun Bhai and Jayesh Bhai and Nipun and Guri and so many noble souls. And I don't think they care to hear this or that, but I think the fact that there are noble friends that I have, and I'm not even talking about the people that I know, but people like ourselves that are trying a little to do our small part of good in the world and to purify our own mind and hearts. All those beings on the planet, I thank for being noble friends and helping lift me up and help me grow invisibly, visibly, whether you know it or not. All those souls are there, and all the beings that allow for that. So yeah, I think I just feel blessed to keep learning and growing together with our community all around the world.
This is wonderful. I love the work that you're doing. I love the fact that you care about the children and you do things in relation to that, and you're planting seeds. Like I think there's a song, right? Planting seeds.
Right.
I think this is amazing, and that you're spreading gratitude. This is awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, brother.
By the way, where can our audience find you? Where can our audience see your work? I know that your album is online and it's free and it's downloadable.
Yeah. The album is a gift for everyone on emptyhandsmusic.org. That's emptyhandsmusic.org. And then, all the music videos are also there. All the music videos are on YouTube, Empty Hands Music, and Facebook also, Nimo Patel. So, thank you. Keep spreading the love and light, everyone. And may we all keep serving all the people around us and supporting in small ways through our life, wherever we are.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Lots of love.
Hey, Gratitude Seeker. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this interview. I really appreciate it. And if you could think of one person that would also benefit from it, share it with them. It might actually be the inspiration that they need to make their day or maybe even their life much better. Thank you so much once again. This has been Georgian Benta. Don't forget to keep seeking and spreading gratitude.
My name is Anthony Capizzoli. I am the host of the Dismantled Life podcast, and I'm a recovering alcoholic and drug addict after nearly 40 years of addiction. I have been clean and sober for nearly 4 years and work hard to help others find recovery. Join me each episode to learn from my sober superhero guests and how they went from the darkness of addiction into the sunlight of recovery. Dismantled Life can be found on Digitent Podcasts, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.